All right, welcome everybody. This is Hard Hat Conversation. I'm your host Richard from Cleveland, Ohio. The day is Friday, July the 11th, 2025. Welcome to Hard Hat Conversation, a podcast that talks about situations of any kind that's going on in the world, and we also try to find some type of solution here, folks. So, welcome. If you're the first time here, I thank you. If you've been here before, welcome again. And I hope you learned something, and I hope I can learn something, because that's why I ask you always, if you like what you're listening to, or if you don't like what you're listening to, please like, subscribe, or make a comment, because we all growing together in this world that we live in. So right away, let me get on the topic I want to talk about real quick, as I talked about in my podcast I made on, I think I did it on Monday, about the big beautiful bill that Donald Trump got passed. Of course, I knew there was limitations because, like I said before, folks, the rich make the laws, they make the jobs, they run the show. No matter what we do, they run the show. So what we got to do is try to fit in, folks, and we all got to strive to do better, folks, because if you stay stagnant, then you always have your hand out. Okay, so let's not stay in those seats or positions. Let's always try to improve ourselves a little bit each year. You don't have to be real big, folks, just small steps. Just like when you was a baby, folks. Small steps, and sooner or later you'll be walking, then you'll be running, okay? All right, so let's get into the hard truths and the hard facts about the big, beautiful bill. I like to go to my notes, folks. I'm going to go to my phone because I got a few notes, because this big, beautiful bill, like I said, it's complicated, I'm not a legislator, and even some of them don't even read half the bills that they sign. They just sign it because they're Republican or a Democrat. I'm not telling you nothing new. All right, let me see what little knowledge that I can get from this, because I'm just a regular six-pack Joe blue-collar worker, folks. All right, just like I thought it would be, the taxes that they talking about with the no tax on tips and overtime, they according to this, they said, bear with me for a minute, excuse me. Of course, it's only the federal taxes that they're not taking out. They're still going to take in city and state. I knew that. They're not giving up all that money, folks. Also, if you're making $150,000 a year or $300,000 a year, for joint filers, the deduction is reduced by $100 for every $1,000 you earn. So the more you make, the less you get. That's, like I said before, that's 101 money. Those who make less than $15,000, listen to this, folks. That's a lot of us out here, folks. Those who make less than $15,000 in 2025 for single filers, and $30,000 for joint. That's two incomes, folks, together. If you're living together and you file together, married, and stuff like that, it's $30,000. You already owe no federal taxes, so you make so less, folks, that they won't. They didn't even take federal taxes out of your check like they do somebody that make maybe over 50,000 or 150,000, stuff like that. So that's nothing new, folks. They've been doing that forever. That's why a lot of the people that do make more money kind of get angry a little bit, because they're like, well, we're making more money, but we're paying more taxes. But the people that don't make a lot don't have to pay a lot. But then here's the other caveat of that, is the people that don't make a lot, they shouldn't have to pay a lot of taxes. Is that bad, folks? Like, subscribe, comment. The less you make, the less you shouldn't have to pay all those taxes, because you barely can making money and feeding yourself. So it's a give and take. I can understand the other side that's saying we make a lot and we pay in the system, we should get a tax break. And I think on a little level, small level, that the people that are making the most money should get a little tax break, because, like I said, and everybody else know, money doesn't grow on trees. All right. The deduction limit. There's always a limit when it comes to money, folks. You know that. $25,000 per year. This is on tips. I'm sorry, folks. This is on tips. The deduction limit for tips is $25,000 a year. So remember that. Those who make those tips big time. Tips received in cash, paid by credit card, or as well as tips received through tip sharing arrangements. Who claims the deduction? Workers in occupation that traditionally receive tips, including those in the food service and beauty industry. Get your hair done, get your nail done. You tipping the hairstylist, the foot massager, the toenail clipper. The full list of eligible jobs will be specified by the U.S. Treasury Department and Internal Revenue Service. Of course, the Internal Revenue gonna have that list, so they make sure they get their money. What's your occupation again? Oh, hairdresser. Oh, how much did you make? Okay. Now this is for the overtime. That was for tips, folks. If you didn't get all that, rewind. Okay, that's the beauty of YouTube. You can rewind the video. This is for an overtime. Deduction limit is $12,500 per person. $12,500 per person. Remember, they only taking the federal, not taxing the federal, but the state and your city will still get theirs. If you got Rita or whatever they call it in your area, I know in the Cleveland area they got a system called Rita, which is some people say it's a monster, but I know about Rita as well. I'm new to the game with Rita, and Rita don't play. You better pay her. Anyway, $12,500 per person is the limit. Is the most that you can deduct. If you marry, joint, $25,000. What can be deducted? The money a worker receives when working overtime that's beyond their standard hourly wage. If your overtime rate is 1.5 times the regular rate, that means only the extra 50% can be deducted. Boy, they know how to play this money game, don't they? I tell you, they know how to confuse you and thinking that you're getting something, you really ain't getting nothing. Who can claim the deduction? Workers eligible for overtime compensation under the Fair Labor Standards Act. Generally, this means employees who are paid time and a half for working over 40 hours a week. Remember that, folks. Anything after 40 hours a week, they should pay you overtime or they're breaking the law. But there are exemptions. There's always a loophole, folks, when it comes to money. We know this. Here's the loophole, folks. Y'all ready? Y'all sitting down? After all that stuff I just said, tips and overtime, no tax. Remember, just the federal, the state, and your city still going to take their taxes out. But federal is always the big one that they take out a lot. The deductions start this year. Hold on, folks. The deductions start this year, but both changes are temporary. The deductions start this year, but both changes are temporary and are set to expire in 2028. Okay? What happened in 2028? There's another election coming up around that time, ain't it, folks? So that's part of that. Like I said, go online, read it, get what you can for these few years. Like I said, the rich run everything. They make the rules and the laws, so they throw us a little bone out there to get us to vote on these policies and accept them and go along with them. And then in the long run, they give us the short end of the stick, and that's the way it is. I know a lot of you don't understand that, but that's the way the world runs. Some things are cruel, people. Come on, folks, you know this. When it comes to money, people have a different demeanor. All right, that's all I'm going to read about that because there's a lot of other little stipulation things in here, but that's the the main course right there, folks. So if you want to learn a little more about it, I advise you to get on YouTube and read it. If it affects you, if you are one of those class of people that work those type of jobs that get overtime and jobs that get tips, it would behoove you to understand what's going on, because your paycheck is going to start looking different. So that's a hard facts and a hard truth. So let's move it along. All right, I want to talk a few minutes about something that's going on. Some people call this gossip. Some people call it messy. Some some people call it you just being a nosy body or whatever. But it's in the news, folks, and people they like to hear the garbage, and they like to hear what's going on with other people's lives. That's who we are, folks. I didn't make this rule, so here we go. Let's dive into this for a minute, because I don't have all the facts. Nobody does. It's just something that just happened. Just came across the wire for me. I know it's been out there, but I really didn't pay no attention. Like I say, I work for a living, so I got other stuff going on. This guy named Derek Dixon, he's a white actor. Like I said before, folks, I got to give you these specifics because I'm going somewhere with this. I got to give you the specifics. So this is the way they make the world: white, black, blue, and orange, and I got to go with it. So don't get mad at me. I'm just a messenger. I'm just going along with what I was taught. You know, I'm blacker than black, so that's what they call me. So, hey, so when you describe who's Richard on Hard Hat Conversations, you're going to say, oh, that's that black dude that wear that funny yellow hat talking crazy. That's what you're going to describe me with. So here we go. Derek Dixon, a white actor. I guess he's suing. I'm looking at my notes, folks. I scribbled a little bit down. Don't you hate it when you write your notes down fast? You can't read them after you write them down. It's getting old, I guess. Derek Dixon is suing Tyler Perry for $260 million. $260 million. That's a lot of money, folks. He was an actor in a couple of Tyler Perry movies. One of them name was Ruthless, and the other was The Oval. Folks, I ain't gonna be on here but a second. I just want to bring that up. We all know who Tyler Perry is. We all know he's an actor. He's dressed up as a woman in Medea. Made a lot of money, you know, doing all types of things. There's rumors that there's other things going on. I don't want to get into them because I don't have the facts about it. But it's all out there in the internet. But for a man, Derek Dixon, to sue for $260 million, saying he was sexually harassed and among other things, it's something else, because we can always say, oh, they just want the money, or Tyler would never do that. He's an upstanding man. And, you know, you can go all kind of different directions. You know, you never know what happens. But for somebody to get their name out there and just to say I'm suing for $260 million, he'll probably never get another job again. But maybe, you know, I don't know, because he's a white actor. He's not a black actor. So I want to see where this goes, because you got a powerful black man with a lot of money and a lot of influence and stuff. And now you got a white actor that's suing him. So are we going to start bringing up the race card and white privilege and all this stuff? Are we going to say that Tyler Perry, they after him because he's a rich black man? Are we going to start seeing stories about that stuff and all that? Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll see, folks. But that's all I'm going to talk about that, because that's what people are talking about in the news today. So let's do it. What I got down here, folks, for you else tonight. Black churches, preachers, and black folks, period. Like I said before, we got this thing called black fatigue. A lot of blacks don't like it, and I'm quite sure some of the other races don't like it either. It's certain thing where you see every time you pick up a video, you see it's a lot of blacks tearing up the stores. The young people are trashing things, fighting with the police a lot. In their own neighborhood, terrorizing with dirt bikes and causing a disturbance. School is out, it's the summer, it's happening in all of the black cities and stuff. I'm quite sure some of the white small cities and rural towns do a little bit, but I don't think it's on a scale like we do it in our black neighborhoods because of the percentage of people that live in there. The majority of them black, and if you got over 50% in poverty and over 50% uneducated, it's gonna cause some problems. And we can go here, we can go there, who to blame, but why don't we look inwards, like I said, and start blaming ourselves, especially with our so-called black leaders. Like I said, if you're gonna take leadership, you got to speak the truth sometimes, and the truth hurts, And if we don't talk about what we got in our skeletons, in our closets, then we can't fix nothing. Like I said, this is hard hat conversations. I try to tell the truth, man. Every time I share some of my stories of how I grew up and my parents and different things going on with the drugs, the alcohol. It's nothing new. But when we have leaders in charge and we keep getting these same old black leaders is not saying nothing about we need to follow the laws. We need to start cleaning up our places where we live at. We need to start being respectful to each other, older folks, everything. Nobody's speaking about that. We don't have nowhere nobody would listen to. The only people we listen to is that old rap music and the actors and the sports people. We listen to entertainers to tell us how to live our lives. Rich entertainers. All of them are entertainers. So when we have that, we're in trouble, folks, because none of them your neighbors. None of them live nowhere near you. They just making up stuff to get you going so you can buy their records, buy their jerseys, they $500 tennis shoes, they clothing line, all kind of stuff. They living good, and ain't, like I say, ain't nothing wrong with money, but if you doing it and destroying a culture in the progress, they're no different than a drug dealer, folks. They're no different than what a robber, folks. They just got the term legal under their names. I'm a legal actor. I'm a legal sports player. I'm a legal rapper. I can say all kind of stuff. I don't care if any kids listening. What's the difference between them? A drug dealer sell anybody. He sell till his mama. He don't care. He's trying to make some money. So we got to get away from that, folks. We got to talk like this, folks, because we all got them somewhere in our family. Oh, my family don't do that. Nobody in my family a homosexual. Nobody in my family a robber. Nobody in my family do all that stuff. Nobody in my family have kids by 8 different men or whatever. We don't do that stuff. I hope you're right about it, but I think every family, if you go down the tree, has that. And not trying to beat them up and stuff like that, but they need help. If you got stuff like that going on, you need help. And I know you can't save everybody, but in the black community, it's out of hand. It's an epidemic, folks. You know how they had COVID and shut everything down? Well, how come in the black community they don't shut nothing down and help clean up the streets? Is it racism? Or is they saying, well, if we come in there and do that and help you guys, you're just going to tear it up again? Is it that type of attitude? I don't know, folks. It could be a little of both. But besides that, we have to do it ourselves, one family at a time, one person at a time. So we can't blame nobody but ourselves, because we're not going to get out of this until we start waking up ourselves. So, you know, just got to start spreading love and telling everybody to try to do the right thing and to follow the rules. Leave some of this other garbage alone. It's no good. It's destroying you. And we got to start shaming stuff. You know, we don't have to do violence like they do. They'll want to do violence to stop you from saying what you want to say, or living the right way. They like to do violence. Let's shame them. Let's call them out. Let's do that. I don't care what color you are. Just shame them. White people got it. Puerto Ricans got it. Minorities got it. White people, whatever you want to call them. No, white people, what that include? Italians and everything else. Anything that don't have no melanin, I guess you're white. I guess that's what our world say we are. So wherever you come from, if you got that in your family, and I'm quite sure you do, it's not just black people, it's in your other family as well. We got to work on that, folks. Don't worry about the other families. Just work on yours. I know it's tough. You're not going to save everybody. But with this black fatigue and this criticizing blacks, you have the right to criticize. You know, you want to call me Uncle Tom or stupid or I don't know the history. Well, do I got to bring it up again? I got history. I understand. I lived it. Parents and Jim Crow laws. I know all this stuff, folks. Trust me, it hurts. But I got to move on. What can I do to make things better now? That's how we got to look at it, folks. So it's up to you. I just wish the churches would take up what they used to do in the old days and be the speaker of the morality that we lost. I wish they would all get together and say, we're going to hold hands together. We shall overcome. This is a we shall overcome moment right now in the black neighborhoods. Why are we all afraid? I don't understand it. We shouldn't all be afraid. We hold hands together. But that's for another time. Let's see what I got here, folks. One more thing. Oh, yeah, I was looking at something. Like, folks, I go over YouTube and look at different channels, and as I look over the news and stuff, something caught my eye with the, you know, when the Trump administration was talking about unemployment is down to 4.1%. Do you know that a lot of the administration, not just Trump administration, Obama, Bill Clinton, name them all, whatever. You know how I think about politicians, you know. I think they all could do better. And I think they really do go in there with good intentions until they go in there and see how the game is really played. And you can either play the game and make money and do good, or you can get out. So you have a choice. It's like selling your soul, folks. You are selling your soul because you know what's going on there. And you know half of that stuff is not right, is evil, but you go along to get along and you want to make your money and be comfortable. We all do. But sometimes we have to make a moral choice. And we don't have that anymore. So, what caught my eye was they was talking about young people coming out of school right now with all these degrees and stuff. And let's not forget, the schools are, let me look at my notes, folks. The colleges and stuff are corporations, folks, whether you like it or not. They are. They used to be institutes of learning, but now they're changed their way of thinking. It's all about getting as much money as you can and just giving people the basic knowledge and the basic tools and put them in debt. And a lot of these jobs are not out here. I don't care what degree. It's hard to get a job out here, even with a degree. And I noticed that some of the happens at my job too. It's everywhere, folks. If you sit back and look, a lot of the new people coming in, they have the degrees, but they don't have none of the experience. See, you can have the paperwork and the book knowledge, but you need experience. So what a lot of them do is come in and try to rearrange a lot of things to show that they really are worth their weight in gold. You know, this is why you hired me. I changed this, I changed that, and not realizing that that's been done already. Went through that cycle. Don't ask the workers about nothing. They don't know nothing, even though they've been there 5, 10, 15, 20 years or more. They don't know nothing, but they've been working there every day. They see the stuff every day. But the only problem is they don't have a degree, so they're not good enough. So I see a lot of that in the workplace right now. And a lot of these schools are getting a lot of tax dollars. They get Pell Grants, you know, and stuff like that. That's money, folks, from the government. So these schools are doing well, and they're not really teaching like they used to. And we need to get on them to do a little bit better, too, as well. But that's for more of another discussion as well. I just wanted to run that by you folks tonight. And all I want to say is, you know, my Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians, are on a 4-game winning streak. Let's go, Guardians. Like I said, I like baseball and hot dogs and apple pie. And I like these things, you know. It's fun, it's relaxing. Everything don't have to be fast. Sometimes you need to relax and have slow things going on, you know. So we can enjoy ourselves, folks. Be kind to your fellow man and woman. Take care of your family. Try to do the right thing. Try to follow the laws. You still can have fun, because without the laws, folks, we'll have chaos. So I'd like to thank everybody that was listening tonight. And I hope you all have a good evening. This is Hard Hat Conversations. Hopefully I'll see you again. Bye.